absolutely frustrated about the messaging that's gone out there. Everyone who's in support of veterans essentially feels really bad for veterans, right? They in good intentions, right? In the Ranger Battalion or even in Ranger School, they used to say good initiative, bad judgment. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what this whole movement of 22 is. This 22 movement, uh, or whatever you want to call that, is good initiative but bad judgment, right? What you don't realize, what we didn't realize, the inadvertent effects, right? The residual effects of telling someone they might be a statistic actually leads people down the path of using that option because it now has become an option. We have given people the option for suicide because we keep telling them about it. Like, hey, there's a good chance you might be one of those statistics if you don't figure it out, right? If you don't transition well, you could be a statistic. Or guys calling in the middle of the night say, man, I'm struggling with my demons. I might be a statistic, right? We've actually given them that verbiage. We've actually put the idea in their head, and it is manifested in what you see today. Okay, the Army is like realizing this now. They're like, holy crap. All this time we've been doing suicide prevention, it's actually been worse. We made it worse, right? There's an actual study. There's a white paper study. Let me see if I can pull this right now and post it onto so you guys can dig and reach, right? And learn, right? It's about educating ourselves. It's not about like blind. I'm not blind talking about this. I really genuinely studied and looked for it and reached out to some of my mentors to be like, hey, dude, am I crazy? Am I crazy? Because I feel like what we're doing is wrong. I feel like all this negative messaging is just putting us down a bad path. So let me message. How do I message? Oh, I'm going to go on my own live through my phone and put my volume down. And then I'm going to post it on the chat through my phone. So if you're on Facebook, I'm going to throw it on Facebook, and then I'll jump over to what's it called right now. Man, I can't even find my own live, bro. Are you even live, dog? Are you even live right now? There it is. Okay, I'm going to go into the chat. I don't know if this is going to try and stop me from doing this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to paste. Boom. Okay. So in Facebook, there's the link, and I'm going to go over to LinkedIn right now and do the same. I've never tried this with LinkedIn. There it is. There's my pretty face. Boom. Okay. So in LinkedIn, and then I think I have someone listening currently right now on YouTube. So let me give him some love real quick and give him that same link. Boom. There you go. Okay. So check out that link whenever you get some time and read about it. And essentially what it's talking about. What the link is telling you and telling us, oh man, my YouTube is always popping, bro. It's the contagion of suicide behavior, right? So it is contagious. Essentially, the more we've talked about it, we've made it contagious to others around us. And so it's all the messaging of like the gun to the veteran's head and all these things. Like we thought like this is going to cause an emotional response, and people are going to be emotionally invested into veterans and suicide, and they're going to start researching this more. We're going to find answers for veteran suicide. Is like, whoa, we were wrong. It did the actual opposite. What we did was we caused a tidal wave of people thinking like, well, maybe because I'm feeling bad, because I'm not doing so well, because I haven't got the counseling, I haven't fixed the trauma. Maybe this is just the way it needs to be. And then they add alcohol to their system, right? They add alcohol to anytime any of us is stressed out, we're celebrating or we're stressed out, we drink. And in this case, when someone is going through a crisis, right, they're going through a divorce, they're going through financial issues, they're going through work issues, going through chronic pain issues, going through their own traumas of post-traumatic stress, they're drinking. And then when they're drinking, you kind of lose all inhibitions, right? You should be like, you know what, my whole screw this kind of, I call it the F it, right? The F it button, the F it switch is easy to push when you get drunk, right? You're really like, yeah, well, F it, So when you've been drinking and now you have all this other stuff stacked on the plate, the first thing that comes to mind is exactly what we've been messaging throughout the veteran community. It is ridiculously wrong. Like, I'm not sure where anyone else is like, am I crazy here? How come there's not very many of us talking about that? We all emotionally are invested in the subject, right? We all care about our veterans, or at least the ones that do. That's why you have over 100,000 veteran nonprofits that talk about, we're going to help change suicide. We're going to stop and fight suicide. It's been 20 years, and there's been very little change, right? There's been very little shift. Recently, It's been beautiful to watch that people are in the wellness space. If you are in the wellness movement, you are right. If you're in the wellness movement, you are correct. You're going down the right path, because what we can only do is prevent people from going into crisis. And how do you prevent people going into crisis, right? And I say crisis, I'm going to use that term as the messaging that I'm using for today. Crisis. Okay. We need to stop people before they get to that point. And how do you do that? Well, we have to teach people how to be financial literate. Financial literacy is everything. A lot of us weren't raised with that. A lot of us don't know what to do with it. And a lot of us, you could do a lot with a little. Okay. And understanding your finances, that'll get rid of one stressor. I got my man, Ben Berkman, here listening right now. He's the dude I talk to all the time about finances. Financial literacy is extremely valuable. That's one. There's like these pillars, right? I would say there's probably 5 or so, right? Addiction. That needs to go, right? This whole thing where we think we need to drink is wrong. And it's going to take a long time before people get to that, like to finally accept that one. It'll take a long time for people to accept that one, but that we'll just put that to the side here. I said it, you know it. I believe that. Alcoholism, oh my, that's one of your biggest things, right? That's kind of the frosting on top of the cake that says, got it. Let's move on. Relationships. A lot of people don't know how to have a healthy relationship. They don't even know what a healthy relationship looks like. Shit, I didn't know what a healthy relationship looks like. Okay. I didn't know what that looked like until my wife was blessed into my life. That doesn't mean that everything is perfect. We have to still navigate like our two mindsets. I'm a very driven, hardworking, almost singular focus at times. That can be non-conducive to the family life. And she has to be like, yo, check the brakes, son. You need to slow that down. We need to focus on these kids. We need to focus on our relationship. Let's go on a date. And I'm like, yes, you're right. And then there's times where we're so focused on the kids. We're like, hey, well, hold up, baby. We got to focus on us. So relationships, we need to teach people how to have healthy relationships, understand what a healthy relationship is. Okay. And then if you have an unhealthy relationship and then you also have bad finances and then you also are drinking a shit ton, well, man, you're just adding down to the spectrum of here we go. We're on a tightrope walking this thing and trying to balance all the chaos. And at some point, when you fall off that freaking tightrope, what's your answer? So we need to stop talking about the issue, okay, of the issue of suicide and saying, oh man, we need to stop suicide. We need to put more money in nonprofits that are gonna, I don't know what we're gonna do with veterans. No, we need to hit the wellness, right? We need to hit it before it even happens. We need to be proactive in teaching people how to live healthy lifestyles, right? That would give them the least amount of opportunity to find themselves in crisis. So teaching how to do fine business, teaching how to have a good relationship, teaching them how not to be an alcoholic or a drug abuser, right? Addiction is a tough one. There's clinics for it. There's things we can do for that. But we need to teach that. We need to understand how to mitigate pain, because pain, man, I used to have a bad back issue. And like that pain was one of those things that took me to the edge of like, yo, I don't want to live a long life with this back pain that I can't even chase my kids around the yard, right? That was my own personal thing, right? And then you got things